Welcome to this time of sharing as we look at the prayer, a portion of the prayer that Jesus wrote or spoke to God in the Gospel as recorded in the Gospel of John. Prayer is a personal and intimate encounter with God. Sometimes we share in communal prayer, but generally our prayers, in whatever form they take, are individual between God and us, ourselves. Mostly it is a private moment, a time when we pour out our thoughts, our hopes, our worries, our fears, our sense of gratitude. And we do this in the quiet of our own space where we can be real, when we can be our true selves before God. However, in this case, in this prayer that is recorded in the Gospel of John, it is portrayed as if the disciples and even the readers are ones who are listening in on Jesus' prayer, his earnest prayer to God, as if we are standing in the wings and overhearing his words of gratitude, as well as his earnest desires for the continued care of God's people. He reviews his whole purpose, his ministry, the trust God has given and placed in him, a trust that gave him a sense of purpose and call to care for others, to bring them to an understanding of their purpose, and as listeners, our purpose. And then goes on to express this care for the future in his absence of his physical presence among us. In these words, Jesus was laying the groundwork for discipleship, for our followership, a commitment to our true spiritual selves awakening within us. This prayer is truly beautiful, in part because of how it flows, but also in that it digs deep into this interconnectedness of spirit and truth. It doesn't just speak of Jesus' intimate oneness with God, but there is a unifying aspect of his words that weave together God and Son and those who seek to walk in his ways. The prayer threads a unity in spirit and in truth through all of these things. Jesus' words are deeply caring and compassionate as we read them. There is no doubt that he desires that everyone should know the complete sense of inner spiritual joy and contentment that he has known and yearned to convey to others. In his prayer he says, "I speak these things in the world so that they may have my joy made complete in themselves." He refers to humankind as treasured gifts given by God that he has sought to guide through his teachings and his example. He expresses concern for them when he is no longer with them. He speaks to God saying, "I am not asking you to take them out of the world, but I ask you to protect them from the evil one." We might hear the earnest tones of his words, the deep love that he has for others, that he yearns for them to be safe from corruption and from threat, that he wants them to find strength in hope and love in all that is good, that they may live full and purposeful lives. May we hear in this prayer words spoken on our behalf, that we, wherever we are in our journeys of faith, will know beyond the shadow of a doubt the powerful protective presence of love every moment of every day. The Gospel of John is purposeful in pointing out the truth of Jesus, his presence as the Son of God, his message of life-saving love. The cross and the resurrection are acts that point to that truth, but the freedom that he brought into the world is made complete when it is instilled in our lives that is for us to receive and to accept, to embody in our words and our actions. The completeness that Jesus knew, he yearned for all to know. And the depth of his love comes through in these words, may they be one as we are one, united in spirit and truth. Such oneness is the awareness of our connectedness with God, with Jesus, with Spirit, that we are united, deeply woven together as one. It is that awareness that brings fulfillment into our lives. And the more we experience that place of contentment and peace, the more our lives reflect those qualities of wholeness into the world. In the prayer, Jesus prays to God, saying, as you have sent me into the world, so I have sent them into the world. The fulfillment, you see, of the gospel message is about the continuation of Jesus' teachings through our lives, in our living, that the universal message of indefinable love will flow from us to others the more we trust in that truth. Many of you know that every week I make bread to sell to my customers on Saturday mornings. And soon I'll be at the farmers market in Waterford again this year. I typically have one day to prep and a second day for the baking. The yeast is the key to the successful loaves. I know from experience, once I completely forgot to put it in, well, of course nothing happened. When I went back, the dough had not risen at all. Another time, the water that I put in was way too hot, and it killed the yeast. It's taken years to master it, really, from loaves that were better used as doorstops than food to more consistent success. In that time, I've always marveled at the properties of yeast that, if not overheated, will grow without fail. I can't help but think about this in light of the faith and our faith and Jesus' earnest prayer for us, for all. The heat that kills the yeast so that it cannot grow is likened to the negativity in our world that blocks our potential and our well-being. It is all the things that interfere with our spiritual growth, our awareness of God's unending presence, and keeps us afraid, hostile, tormented, that holds us back from reaching our full potential, from being our true selves that are spirit and truth. But it doesn't have to be that way. And such was expressed in Jesus' prayer. Like yeast that grows with gentle care, our faith grows when it is fed positivity and possibility, when it is fed hope and fed love. Our faith grows endlessly when we take time to care for it, to pay attention to the Spirit within our souls and feed it with the truth of divine love. It is that care that Jesus longed for everyone to know. It is then that harmony and peace will fill the world with hope. The Dakota Nation have a saying, "We will be known forever by the tracks we leave." There are examples throughout history of this truth, some deeply, deeply and tragically unfortunate, and in which great healing has been and is needed still. Others powerfully positive, restorative, and gently flowing with the creative order of life. Jesus, as one who left tracks of unity and love, desired the same for each of us. When we stop to consider that Jesus was not only praying for his disciples then, but that in every way, this prayer is about us and our well-being, how can we not be touched by his deep love and compassion for you, for all of us, for me, for our world. Indeed, may we take to heart his words of guidance and hope, that we might unite together in spirit and truth, and thus be the good news that God yearns for the world, leaving tracks of goodness, love, and harmony in all that we say and in all that we do. Amen.